everyone. Welcome to the latest installment of MSP Business School. As always, I'm your host here, Brian Doyle. And today I'm excited to bring somebody on. I just got to see him probably only about a week ago, I think it was, when we were out at IT Nation, at least at the time we're recording this. And, it's always great to see Dave out on the road, but it's fun to get some one-on-one time with him as well. So to the show today, I'd like to welcome Dave Maik from Valimail.
Hey, how you doing?
Well, Dave, let's start off with the first thing there. That's a new company name I think we're talking about for you, are we not?
We are, yes. I think everybody remembers me from my previous company as, took that startup to a pretty good level. But it was time for a change and extremely excited to be with Valimail.
Well, we're really excited for you. You did a great job with your previous company, really getting the message out there. And I mean that sincerely. We first encountered each other a couple years back in Pitch It. And I think at that point in time, nobody knew who either one of us was.
That's true.
But you certainly did a great job of getting your company out there, getting it well known. And hence the reward, I guess, is a new opportunity, right?
Yep, I guess so, yep.
Well, Dave, as I share a little bit of how I got to know you, I think there's a lot of folks out there that might not know you today. And maybe if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit about your background and how you came into the crazy world of MSP.
Yeah, so a journey and a half, that's for sure. Dates back to 95, 96 when I started in essentially computers, right? I mean, back then, that's what we had. We didn't have all this SASE and cloud infrastructure going on. So I just really kind of grew with the industry per se. Went from, in distribution, we were moving things like memory and monitors and all this kind of jazz. And just as we moved through big data, storage, hard drives, load balancing, McAfee security, and then onwards and upwards to kind of going really with the flow of where this industry has gone, because essentially the MSP space and this industry, cloud computing, is really just a morph. It morphed from everything previously, right? It just, things changed. Storage got huge, and there was no other way to do it but put it in the cloud. And then all these small companies couldn't manage the amount of infrastructure required to keep themselves protected. So hence came MSPs, and just kind of slid into this world about 4 years ago, and I've loved it. It's really been great.
It is funny how in technology, though, what's old is new and comes back around again, right?
Yeah.
We've had cloud SaaS, but it all started with I think it was the application service provider model back in the 90s when there was not enough bandwidth to support everything. But just like that. Everything, that's old comes back around as new, but what never goes out of style is security, right? And that's a little bit of your story today.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've been involved with security on many levels as I grew through this industry. And now it's crazy, right? We go to a show. We see them all. It's mind-boggling for an MSP to probably try to weed through everything and really understand what they should be using and what is the right products, because honestly they could have, they could be offering out over 100 different security products to their clients, which is not necessary, obviously.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of talk out in the marketplace today about tool fatigue, right? So, the tools that are stepping up to the plate and taking charge are the ones that are kind of answering a couple solutions without trying to be all and everything to everybody, right? Because there is some diversity required, but it is getting amazing how much you might need to put into your stack. And of course, the complaint we hear a lot of times from our MSP partners is, and I have to pass that cost along, which also makes it difficult for me to be competitive, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and of course, the good old saying is, the client will always be, why do I really need this? And I don't really want to pay for it. So it's a trickle-down effect of us trying to make sure the MSPs are doing the right things, and the MSPs making sure they're doing the right things to their clients, but their clients might not understand why they're doing that. So, yeah.
Yeah, and as a guy that runs an outfit that does business reviews as part of its life, I'm always reminding the MSPs, you got to remind them what's in it for them. what's their win, and if you can do that well, then usually everything else just kind of cascades and follows from that. But some of these concepts are difficult for end users to understand. I think even some of us in the industry struggle with concepts like DNS,
Yeah.
DMARC, DKIM, SPF, right? And all these different things that go into keeping public facing services humming but yet secure. Obviously, this is an area of your expertise, Dave. Maybe you can share a little bit about what you've been seeing out there and how you've helped kind of shape the conversation with your partners to ensure that they have success.
Yeah, well, this generally speaking, and not so much focused on maybe Valimail or the other company I was involved with, but it's really just a positioning and making sure they understand. Like, it's not necessarily maybe fits for everybody. Maybe it's not a priority for everybody. And, MSPs, again, going back to the challenge of why your product and why that product and why this product. I would rather sit back and say, this is kind of requirements, if you will. Maybe it's hitting certain requirements in the industry by other players, but not to overload them. I mean, every MSP is not going to just jump on board to every product, and especially it's a pool of a lot of security out there, but it's helping them understand the right what's the right stack for them. And in fact, GTIA, and part of a council there, just to kind of go to that, is we actually designed a document. It's a pretty lengthy document, but the first stage and second stage is really a questionnaire for the MSP to go back and say, why do I want to bring on this particular vendor? And it's a checklist. And at the end of it, they go, yeah, this is not the vendor for me. And this is why, because they've gone through this checklist and been able to realize, instead of going and saying, oh, shiny and new, I want that, as a lot of new security products can be, and they tend to maybe get a little bit too excited about technology and jumping on board. So it's about stepping back. It's about, working with them and understanding the requirements. And there is a lot of little bits and pieces out there that are probably shiny and not really necessary, I guess, in the grand scheme of things.
It's amazing, how much that we have to deal with. And you were just talking to me prior to this meeting today, or prior to us starting recording today, about some changes that are going on in the marketplace that are definitely going to impact everybody. Candidly, Dave, as we're sitting here, I saw a ticket pop up on my window that might be my first view into this a little bit deeper. And I wish I could say I was kidding about that right now.
Right. I guess we need to talk after.
Yeah, we use SendGrid as our underlying mail transport carrier. And I just had somebody that has their CNAMEs lined up, saying that an email didn't make it through. And, my team will investigate that, of course. But just interesting that it's come up that quickly. So maybe you can share with the audience a little bit about, what this new concern is out there in the marketplace. And when I say concern, I guess it's maybe just a new concern that we have to address more than anything else.
Right. And it's a change in the industry, which is what we kind of kicked this call off about, right? Is it's always forever changing, and then you gotta kind of tweak and move with the changes, and don't be left behind. So in the email space, the big change that occurred was back in 2024, all Yahoo, Google, and Microsoft, which is basically, essentially the biggest percentage of all the email providers out there, announced that you need DMARC, including SPF and DKIM. You must have these. Not enforced, but they're saying you must now have these in play to be able to use their email. Just last week, and then just this week, it was announced Google and then Microsoft was they are now going to start enforcing the requirement for DMARC with SPF, with DKIM. You need all three of those to make sure you're very secure when you're sending emails, and they're authorized and they go out. So a lot of companies that are using these email carriers now are going to see things like, I think that's probably what your ticket is. Why did this email not go out? Yeah. Why is it delayed? Why am I not seeing my marketing stuff go out properly? Well, it's probably because of this new enforcement that's going down. So this will just increase. It's not going to happen overnight, but it's definitely going to increase as they as they take their time to find out who is and who isn't using the protocols properly to authenticate emails to go out so that they land in your and everybody else's box legitimately. It's not a spam. It's not a phishing attack, and that you can trust every email that enters your inbox.
So, kind of hitting on that a little bit further, if a company has properly set up this information, they really should run into very little problem, correct? At this stage, it's not like this is something brand new, something that's going to require configuration. But of course, there might be some folks that are legacy,
Yep.
that did not have that set up. I assume this is where the problem's going to need to be rectified.
Right. So this is a pretty big space in the sense of vendors offering out a solution that would solve or partially solve the problem. The big thing is, and MSPs, as we know, is time, right?
Yep.
It's great to have all these products, but it's how long is it going to take me to deploy? How long is this going to take me to set up? How long is it going to take me to get my clients on board? So one thing with Valimail is the configuration is extremely and super easy automated. So that speeds up the process anywhere from 60 days or less to get your protocols in play and it's set up. So this is a key, right? Is get that protection set up quickly, making sure that the company's emails are going out. If it's marketing information or marketing emails that are going out, you want those to hit the inbox. The more that don't, the less opportunity for increased in ROI on those email sends. And there's numbers out there. They're, I think everybody knows that they're pretty small to get somebody to open an email and then get a click and they get a response. So proper emails going out with proper identification, BIMI for another example. This allows it's authenticating that email is coming from a legit sender, and then that will increase your open, people reading your emails. It's that
Well,
simple.
if you go by some of the numbers that I've seen out there, like 3%, is what the ultimate rate is.
Exactly.
If 50% aren't hitting the box, then you've got to do twice as much effort just to get out, get the same level of messaging out.
Yep.
And of course, there's always the risk of blacklisting there too. So
Correct.
maybe you could talk a little bit about how blacklisting gets avoided, because this is where it's a mystery to me, right? We'll hear our marketing groups go, hey, we need to get other domains, but you also want to have people be able to kind of find you, and a lot of times they'll look at the domain name and go, okay, I want to go check out that site now.
Yep.
So maybe you could share a little bit of that magic art that goes on there, or at least how you guys help prevent blacklisting your email addresses.
Right. So the easiest start is our free product, Monitor. It's that simple. It's actually called Monitor. It's a free product you can grab off of actually Pax8 is our disty partner that you can go in and grab it there. I think most MSPs do have an account there. But the beauty of that product itself is when you're using it. By the way, it's 7 simple steps that are outlined in the back end of the product to get you started or get you going. It will actually identify all your emails and email systems that you're using that are failing DMARC. So you see them. You literally see them right there. You got green, you got yellow, and you got red. Those red ones are the ones you need to correct. So using that monitor only will give you the insight to what do I need to change? How do I change it? How do I get these email systems or these sending email systems to come into the green side, right? And that's what we're going to help with. And then obviously that takes information for their client to go, hey, I now have a report for you. Here's where your issues are. These are the ones that aren't going out. We need to get you up here to do the SPF, the DMARC, and the DKIM to correct all those things. And those email protocols or email sends will move over to the green. It's that simple.
Yeah, and while it sounds simple, it is a bit of an art form, I mean, I have seen over the years for us, many things happen with email. And when I say for us, I'm going back to my MSP days where I used to see all kinds of stuff. And I think those of us that got a little time under our belts remember how hard it was to get removed from blacklists and other things back in the day. And there wasn't a clear, concrete way to, strengthen your posture, which, folks like your company have helped us with.
Exactly. Yeah. And yeah, it's just it's just kind of following. I don't want to say protocol, but maybe I'm lacking the term here of if you follow the right steps, your company can be able to send emails without any further issues moving down the line. And particularly larger companies that have a big marketing wheel going on there. They look at these things. They look at authenticating emails and want to make sure those emails go out, or they're not going to see the return on what they're doing. So we want to increase that return.
Yep. Awesome. So, Dave, we've covered off a little bit on some of what the problem is. We've covered off on some of the ways that you can help diagnose and solve those problems. Is there more to the product that we might not understand that you want to share with us? Some other issues that you're solving, or have we kind of hit the big ones?
That's the big one for sure. We could dive into quite a bit of other stuff, but I think we would get into the weeds at that point. I think for the MSP specifically, this is a very kind of clear message. It's a clear problem. I think they don't. Again, we come back to do we want to make it all shiny and make them just kind of go, ooh, I need that? What do they need, right? Let's not over explain it. Let's not man explain it, and let's be honest, right? I mean, let's just make sure that they're doing the right things, and not to put a big bill in front of them, because I think that's a big problem, right? They look at some of these products at $20 and $30 a month. I mean, per user, it's crazy pricing. And small medium sized MSPs are they're not able to sell that, and they're not looking to bring that aboard. So it's being smart about their choices and not overpaying for something that they don't need. So I think for this conversation, that hits it perfectly for them to understand. And to be honest, price points are so inexpensive for a small MSP per client. It's peanuts really for them to make sure they're protected.
Yeah. So, Dave, I'm going to shift gears a little bit here.
Let's do it.
And we're going to go back to you personally a little bit. So there's been this running joke I see on LinkedIn all the time about you being this stoic. And I don't see it, man. Anytime I'm with you, I'm like, this is one of the most personable guys I've ever been around. And then there's this air of stoicism. So maybe you can give us a little background on that one.
Yeah, that's funny. So it actually goes back to 3 years ago or something. I'm on a flight, and people were starting to do these plane selfies all the time, which now have actually become very popular. So I took this picture, and it was just a very stoic look I had going on. And someone said, "Oh, Dave, you're so stoic," and that was it. I took that and flew with it. And maybe it's kind of, as you said, maybe it's kind of like I'm not maybe that stoic person, right? And it's the complete opposite.
Yeah, it's so funny because, you can see where that can kind of take off. And you know what? When something goes even semi-viral, if you will, right? You lean into that and let it run because people will definitely get to know you. But I think, many like myself are like, then you meet them or then you spend some time with them and you realize this is not a guy that's
so stoic.
Back shelter just only speaks when he has something to speak about, So I found that comedic, but I've been trying to figure out what the origination point is. I'm one of those guys that often comes in halfway on the joke.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't get it, man.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
everybody else does.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So now and maybe a lot of other people understand what happened. One stoic selfie picture from an airplane, and somebody made a comment, and that was it. It was like, okay, I'm going with stoic. And in fact, let me see if I can pull one out really quickly. I even had these made a while ago. The stoic stickers.
Nice.
So if you ever see me at an event, just ask me for a stoic sticker. I always have a few in my pocket.
That's awesome. So, Dave, we're getting near the end of our time now. We've just got a couple moments left. Any closing thoughts before I share with people? Well, I'll actually pop it up on the screen now for those that are watching this. Obviously, those of you that are listening via podcast, this will all be in the show notes. I'm popping up Dave's company's email right now, valimail.com. But, what are some of the best ways people can reach out to you today?
Obviously through my email, I guess, is the best way. It's Dave. Yeah, LinkedIn's great too. DM me on LinkedIn, obviously, but Dave.Maik at Valimail.com. Pretty easy email. If there's an interest, there's a conversation that wants to be had to maybe deep dive into this, definitely can do a demo and these types of things. But honestly, I think if an MSP is interested in and just kind of understanding where they're at and where their clients are sitting with their email, that free monitor product, it's
Great way to
really
start.
there's no pressure there. It's unlimited, no end date to that too. So why not download it? Why not get visibility into where your clients are? And I think that MSPs, and I do love helping MSPs. And one thing for sure in the previous company and this company going to is that making sure that I'm involved with a product that really makes sense for the MSP, right? It can't be one of these products that you should have it because this is an essential product in making sure life is secure for them and their clients. So that's
Yep.
that's important to me, right?
Awesome. Well, Dave, I really appreciate you taking some time with us again today. Listeners, again, if you're watching this right now on YouTube, first of all, if you're not a subscriber, hit the bell and become one so you get up to date with every new interview. But I've put Dave's LinkedIn address back online. Connect with him, certainly get a conversation started, and go get that free utility. I mean, it really will help you diagnose some of these issues, right?
Yeah, and a free Stoic sticker.
And a free Stoic sticker. If you see Dave, ask him for a free Stoic sticker.
Yeah,
It'll make your laptop the envy of all the cool kids.
there you go.
All right, Dave. Well, hey,
Awesome,
thanks
Brian.
for taking some time with me today. I look forward to seeing you again out on the road, and we
Yep.
will talk soon.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, and it was great seeing you last week, man.
You bet. And same
All right.
here. Take
All right.
care.
Cheers.